So I've been in this trade for a while now, and I have found that there are a couple of tools that make everyday life a little bit easier. So I'm going to show you a couple of them right now. Now, the first up is the Klein flip socket. I've had this for well over 2 years now, and I have found that it is the perfect tool to take care of every single application we have in the HVAC industry. Let me explain. Now, at the very top, you have 1/4 and 5/16. That's pretty much going to get you into all systems and handle most repairs that you come across. Next up, you have 11/32, 3/8, and 7/16. Those are going to be the sizes that you use on pretty much all blower motors and wheels, belly bands, the arms. It doesn't matter. That's pretty much going to take care of all of them inside and out. And last up, you have the 1/2 inch, which is going to be your compressor mounts. One quick note on this, it does tend to rust. You do need to oil it up, which is pretty much just hitting it with WD-40. And mine, the magnet did fall out, so I had to glue it back in. Other than that, it's been really solid, and I love keeping it on my bag. Now, if you're like me, you work in the dark all the time, because where else would we put the equipment? We're going to put it in the freaking dark. So, besides your phone being your primary flashlight, you ended up with an assortment of a bunch of other stuff. Well, here are a couple of flashlights that I found out to be the best. And one that I thought was going to be awesome, but turned out to be a freaking heater, which is this guy. It is a Nebo Omni 2K, and this thing is really freaking bright, but it gets super hot, even on the lowest settings. I thought it would be awesome to set it up and just work and use the magnets on the back. I can hang it from stuff, but not only does it have a horrible battery life, it gets super hot to where I don't even use it anymore, and it just kind of sits in my garage as its own relic. That leaves me with 2 flashlights that are actually worth the money. One is the Milwaukee Rover. It's a pivoting USB flashlight. It has 3 different light levels, and even the lowest one is super bright, so I pretty much just only run it on that. The fact that you can stick it to the top of a cabinet, rotate it down 180 degrees to see what you're working on, and then rotate it even a little bit further to go into the cabinet that you need to work into, definitely puts it to the top as my go-to work flashlight in attics. My go-to stick flashlight is the Nebo Redline X. Now, this is one of those zoom-in flashlights where it takes a really wide beam and then turns it into a square, which is super nice when you're actually looking for something a little bit further in an attic or in a drop ceiling, and you need to see, hey, where's my disconnect, or where is the line set, or is there something going on where I just need to see a little bit further. This flashlight does that job for me. It can get super bright, it can get pretty dim, the battery life is pretty nice. I really like it. Now let's talk about some of my favorite tools. Laser distance measures. This is the smaller Dewalt atomic laser. It'll shoot 55 feet, which will easily help you map out a house. The battery lasts forever, and it's super durable, and it's pretty small, and it'll fit in your pocket no problem. And I really, really like this one. I highly recommend it. This is now my go-to laser distance measure. It is a Cigman CD-60. This one allows you to stand in the middle of the room and get all measurements that you need without having to walk over to a wall, stick the butt on it, and press the trigger. And if you've ever been to a hoarder's house that you needed to map out, you know sometimes you can't get to the wall. So that is why this is my favorite. Now, this one you probably might know. It is the Tradefox Umbrella. Now, this guy has been out for a while. Everyone has pretty much seen it. It's in all the supply houses. The cost is about $70, which, yeah, is a little expensive for an umbrella, but it comes with a big old fat magnet that holds itself steady even with wind, and it has a pivoting arm that allows you to angle it over yourself to keep yourself out of the sun when you're spending long times working on a piece of equipment. I will admit, it is pretty pricey for an umbrella. That kind of sucks, but you know what sucks even more? Sunburn. Next up, we got this guy. No, not the nitrogen tank, the regulator itself. This is a newer style nitrogen gauge compared to the old one where you constantly have to adjust the pressures. You would see what your tank was at, you would see what you needed to be at. No, this one has settings already made for you. You have your off, of course. You have purge, you have test, which I use to flush out drain lines and fill up units that I need to pressure test. And you have braze. Braze is where the money's at. That's what you're going to hook up to a unit when you need to flow nitrogen, hit it with a torch so you don't oxidize the inside of it. This is available, I know for a fact, at Johnstone, and it is well worth the money because, for one, this has been dropped many, many times and it has not broken. Those old ones, they fell apart all the time. It is definitely one tool that I didn't know I needed to upgrade until I got it, and I am so happy I got it. Now, these are some of my favorite toys. Thermal cameras. This is the TopDon TC004, and this is the big boy. When you break this out in front of a customer, they know you mean business, and you're about to figure out what's going on. Because, hey, you point that up at the ceiling, look, you don't have insulation over there. Oh, look, your ductwork is literally falling apart. Oh look, your door or your windows aren't sealed and they're just bringing in a ton of heat. Hey, when you bring this thing out, people know you mean business and they can see exactly over your shoulder what's going on. Now this is the InfiRay P2Pro. It is super small, plugs into the bottom of my phone, and allows me to turn my phone into a thermal imaging camera, which does one really cool thing over the big handheld. This allows me to take video and pictures directly on my phone and send it straight to the customer, my boss. This is extremely handy for getting you out of a bind. The fact that it plugs into your phone and allows you to do everything from your phone is honestly way better than having to plug this into a computer, which has to be Windows. Can't plug it into my MacBook. That part kind of sucks, but this right here, putting it into your phone, that's today's technology, honestly. I love this thing. Have you seen this before? It's called the Coolpressor. It allows you to stick a hose directly to a compressor to cool it down so you can reset the thermal overload that's built inside. How does it do that? It's got a really strong magnet and it hooks up to a hose. I know that there's a bunch of ways that people use to cool down a compressor, set a bag of ice on it, put a rag on it, hit it with some water every now and then, or just hold a hose onto it. But I like to play on my phone when I'm cooling down a compressor because it's pretty boring. So I just hook up my meter to it and then hit it with the Coolpressor, just set it right there on top and walk away. And once I hear my meter, then I go back and take care of it. So yeah, this is extremely nice to just set it and forget it and then go watch the videos on TikTok. Heat blocking putty, whether it is the Viper Wetrag or the solder weld hot block, you need to have this on your truck when you go to hit anything with a torch, especially in 2024 going forward, where we are moving towards everything being a thermal expansion valve with a bulb right past your solder joint, or on your inverters when you have multiple thermistors throughout the evaporator coil. This stuff saves the paint on dryers, it saves service valves outside, and it saves all the delicate stuff on the inside evaporator coils. Highly recommend getting some of this stuff. It's not a one-time purchase. It honestly doesn't matter which one you get. They normally last like a couple of years, especially when you take care of it, you put some water on it before you put it back in. This stuff lasts forever. And last but not least, the HVAC quick reference card, which has been updated with both A2L refrigerants that we're gonna see here in North America, R32 and 454B. This has all the good stuff that you're used to, the supply ductwork CFM, the return square inches per tonnage, your electrical chart, which is going to be pretty much all the sizes that we see in the field, and the compressor scenarios for when you're in the field and you kind of get stumped a little bit, or you are new to the trade and you kind of need a direction of which to go in order to figure out an issue. And if you have made it this far into the video, then I'm giving away the HVAC quick reference card at the Etsy link below with 20% off with promo code COOLTOOLS. Now let me know in the comments down below if you've used any of this stuff, if you liked it, if you didn't like it, what did you substitute in place of it? All of the tools that I talked about today will be linked in the description down below. Thank you for sticking around for this video. I'll see you on the next one.